But only 86 years was very hard work. And from the time that Miriam was born till they left Egypt, that was the Shibud Mitzrayim. That's why Miriam is called Miriam. Miriam is called Miriam from the word Maror, Miriam, Miru Chayayim. They made their lives bitter because from the time that Miriam was born, they had 86 years. Hanitzonim niru ba'oretz. The buds are seen already. The trees are budding. Who are the buds? Moshe and Aaron have arrived on the scene and they're ready to be goyal Am Yisrael. Eis hazomeh higia. What's the time of singing? The bird singing. What's it referring to? The time to sing Oz Yoshia Moshe B'nai Yisrael has arrived. The Shira at the end of Kriyas, at the end of Shri Pesakh. But the whole time of Yetzias Mitzrayim is called Eis Hazomeh Higia. We're going to speak about this a little bit more in depth in a minute. Kol Hater, the voice of the pigeon, the time has come for you to leave Egypt. Eis Hazomeh Higia. Yetzias Mitzrayim is the time of singing of the birds. What does this mean? We see that Yetzias Mitzrayim, Am Yisrael says she. So now let's go back and let's analyze what's happening. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created Adam Rishon, and he gave him Adam Rishon, the first man. He gave him one mitzvah, and that one mitzvah, not to eat from the Eitz Hadas, he didn't keep. And the Rebbeinu Shalom wanted that Adam Rishon, if he would have kept that mitzvah from this man, he would have been Chai La'olam. And when he ate from the Eitz Hadas, he became a bar moves. He became Shaykh, this made him connected with this world, and he fell under the rulership of time. But bitzad the neshama el yono, from the aspect of his holy neshama that Hashem blew into him, he had to be like the Pesakh says, Vayhi ha'odom v'nefesh chaya. He became a living being. And the Torah refers to life as something eternal. Like the Pesakh says, B'yoyim, they ask the question, but Hashem says, B'yoyim ha'cholcha mimenu mois tamus. Schatz, the day that you eat from this tree, you will die. No, he ate from the tree, did he die the same day? He died 930 years later, he died. It's a lot of time. How about we should live 900? I don't know how long. We don't know how to use it right. But 930 years, so what does it mean the day that you die? The teretz is, the day that you eat from this tree, life will become a terminal disease, a terminal illness that you're sure to die from. As long as you're going from this tree, you are not sick. You have life which is eternal. But from that day, you become a dying creature. It doesn't mean that you'll actually die, but every day you're approaching death. You're in a dying process. That's the meaning of Poshet Pshat Mois Tamis. But so, and that goes, and Hashem says that the tachlis from this man cannot be achieved. Till now, instead of Adam Rishon, it's as if the mitzvah became fractions. There will have to be a nation that they represent Adam Rishon, and instead of the one mitzvah, this nation will get 613 mitzvahs. They'll be accepted Torah and Har Sinai, and from them will be this kaim will be fulfilled the purpose of the world and the creation of the world, which is there should be a living being that will get the reward of Olam Haba. Like the Mesilas Yesharim says that the purpose is like Yivra ha'Adam, the person wasn't created only this Aneg al Shechina to be connected with the Shechina. And how do we become connected with the Shechina, the keeping of the mitzvahs? And Tzoyim, Amagim, Esa'odom, the Tachlis Hazeh, Heim, HaMitzvahs, Asher Tzivonu, Aleim, Akel Yisroch Shemoi. We can only get to Olam Haba through this world and the fulfillment of the mitzvahs and the study of Torah. And that creates us into a living, eternal being through our neshama and Olam Haba. Like we know the neshama remains. So, by Yetzias Mitzrayim, it says, the Chazal Dashan, Rav Shimon ben Yochai, Atem Kruyim Adam V'loi U'Moisa Olam. Who is called Adam, the combined nation of Klal Yisrael. They are the Adam. They are the continuation of Adam Rishon. Why did Am Yisrael go to Mitzrayim? The whole Shibud Mitzrayim is a purification process. that over here in Mansour? The timing. Vayimoru es chayehem. On the pasuk that mentioned the bitter the lives of Christ. Timing hamikra. You know the nigu. Now you say it. Kadma v'azla. There's a double meaning there. It's that kadma. The word kadma v'azla means they kadma kodem azla kodem they went. That's the growth. They went back before the time. But there's another meaning. The kadma v'azla kodem before it went. Kadma v'azla is a remez, is a hint to the snake. Because of the impurity that the snake put into human mankind at the time of the sin of the eating of the forbidden fruit, Am Yisrael went through a purification process of Shiva Mitzrayim. The Pesakh refers to the taking out of Mitzrayim, I took you out of the burning iron furnace. Like a furnace separates the impurities from the silver or gold, that it should be pure, so was the Yisurim Mitzrayim, a separation, was a preparation for Am Yisrael to accept the Torah. That was the nation from them should come out the tachlis, the purpose of the world. So it's to bring us back, and so actually at the time when we received the Torah, we know the Torah says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Ani amarti elokim atem u'bnei elim kulchem. I wanted you to be like the Malachim. Ochein, just like Adam Rishon did a sin, Ochein in the yom of Yom Shlishi. Ochein ka'adam temusu. Like Adam, you die as well because of the Chet HaEgel. But by Matan Torah, they arrived again on a level of Adam Rishon before the sin. And this was the schus in the merit of Yetzias Mitzrayim. Now let's talk for a minute. What is man? Where is the unique part of man? What's unique in man that separates him and puts him on a different dimension than the rest of all existence? What power? Neshama. Neshama. And where's the expression of the neshama in man? The neshama, man inside his neshama, he's eternal. A behemoth doesn't have life after life. It doesn't have the nefesh of the neshama, of the nefesh of the behemoth. You know, it's a living being, like a plant. At its death, that's it. It's over. But a man, we say the identity of man is his neshama. And the neshama is dressed up like the clothes cover my physical body. My physical body are the clothes of my neshama. The neshama continues. The death is a change. In the Svarim it says that the Zohar refers to death is a change of clothes. Before it had one levush. It's like at night you go to sleep, you put on pajamas, change clothes. His death is a different type of clothes. It's a different dimension. They need different clothes. But the neshama is the same neshama. It's not different. It's continuous after death, the same ani that feels, that desires, that senses pleasure and pain. It's the same. This is what we have in Seiris, we have to know it. This is the Yisayis Amunah. These foundations of our faith. It's the same I. After death, there's no difference whatsoever in that I. It's not a different existence which came out of this existence, like a tree grows from the seed or something. It's the same I. Just that let's go of these clothes and it goes into another impact. Different clothes, different dimension. That I expresses itself in this world. Where do we see the unique thing of man? In which power? Which power does man? Man, when he doesn't open up his mouth, you don't see that he's a man. How do you see he's a man? When he speaks. A parrot can speak, but you can't make him understand what he's saying or communicate. There's no communication. A parrot. And a monkey, you can teach him all the tricks of the monkey. Monkey tricks, but to make the monkey speak, I'm sorry. You can make him say something, but he won't communicate. Not that. This is, and that's the Targum Onkelos. When the Torah tells us, when Hashem grew a living soul into the nostrils of man, this pasuk that speaks about the creation of man, all this is hinted here. Vayitzer, the Torah, this is how you see that the Torah speaks in many languages at the same time. When the Torah speaks about the forming of the animal, the Torah uses the word Vayitzer with one yud. And suddenly, when the Torah writes about, if you look in Bereshis, is the Bereshis here? All right, 1 second. In Chumash Bereshis, you have Anyway, in Gracious it says, Vayitzer Elokim, Vayitzer, it's written with two Yud. Yud. When it says Vayitzer, he formed the animal, one Yud. Vayitzer, he formed man. Vayitzer Elokim es ha'adam, Ofam and Adonam. So there it says it with two Yud. Let's see. Vayitzer Hashem Elokim es ha'adam. See? The Torah suddenly adds a second Yud. Vayitzer. Two Yudin. What are these two Yudin? So Rashi says, because man has two Yitzirot, two lives. What do you mean two lives? What's the Russian Rashi? Shtei Yitzirot. Yitzira lo'olam hazeh, v'yitzira l'tchiat hametim. Aval abehema, eino amelet l'din. A behemoth doesn't have to give responsibility, doesn't have to give din l'cheshbon, he doesn't have free will, nothing. And when he dies, the animal, that's it, it's over. But a man is not a behemoth. A man has to give, he has a yitzira. Michtav yitzirasa, because he has to give a din, he has responsibility, and that neshama is oimed with the melech malchi amlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and gives din l'cheshbon, so that's why it's written with another unit. Where is the main responsibility of man in this world? In which power as well? Adam la'amal yulad. A man, it says in Kehelis, is born to toil. The toil doesn't mean to build a house. The toil means, of course, mitzvahs. But any yodea, I don't know if the main responsibility is in actions or the main responsibility is with what he does with his mouth. And the Gemara darshans and says it's the main thing is what he does with his mouth. La'omul peh. And omul peh means mainly the study of Torah, etc. Why? Because the peh is the unique expression of the neshama. That's what man in his power of speech is where he's unique. Let's see. Let's go back to this Pesakh. Vayipach ba'apov nishmas chayim. Hashem blew into him a living soul. Vayihi ha'adam lenefesh chayim. The man became a living being. So we would translate living being. But Targum Onkelos chooses to explain it differently. How does the Targum Onkelos explain? You want to read V'hava ba'adam? You see this Targum Onkelos? The living soul on top, where my thumb is. V'hava ba'adam. The ruach mimalala. What is the meaning of ruach mimalala? Ruach mimalala means in this world he became a living, speaking being. Ruach is air. Mimalala is to speak. He became the expression of the neshama in man is the power of speech. Which power of speech? Seichel. So, Yitzias Mitzrayim. Let's go back again. And that's what the whole holiday of Pesach is about. If you notice, it says in Svarim, you can take the word Pesach and divide it up into two parts. Pesach. What is Sach? Like the word Sicha. Ahavti Terosecha Kol Hayoim Sichosi. Sicha. Sicha. Sin and Samach are interchangeable. Sicha is to speak. Pesach, the Peh speaks. In the Sifrei Kabbalah, they say, whatever this means, but we can understand it a little bit, that the power of speech was in Golus, was in exile in Egypt. Meaning the unique power of speech. The Neshama was Meshubad. The Neshama of Klal Yisrael. The Neshama is the speech. Where is the Shlei, the perfection of speech? Eis Hazom Ihiyah. To say, hallowed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Like we say on the night of the Seder. So, in different words, Tchiyat HaMeitim. Man was created for Tchiyat HaMeitim. So for a being to live eternally. Tchiyat HaMeitim is the eternal existence of man through his neshama. The expression of the eternal existence of man is through his neshama. Because that's the part that's eternal. The expression of the neshama in this world is the power of speech. But which speech? Which speech? Which speech? To speak about what I ate for lunch. What I'm going to eat for supper. And that the Tana says in Mesechus Avos, Amar Rav Shimon. Kol yomai gidalti ben hachachamim. All the days of my life, I lived by the wise men. V'loi motzasi leguf. In connection with speaking about the physical needs of the body. V'loi motzasi leguf toiv mishtikot. The best thing I found, that's in Parak Aleph in Pesakh Savos. The best thing I found for the guf is shtika. It's not to speak about it. So of course it's speaking about speech of Elam Abba, of Torah mitzvahs. And what can be the greatest speech than speech of saying Hamd to Hashem? So Yitzias Mitzrayim means Eis HaZoneh here. The eternal man has come again upon the surface of the earth that can connect with Hashem. Yitzias Mitzrayim is a man that connects with Hashem. Pesakh. Yitzias Mitzrayim, the mouth is open, a mouth that will recognize the existence of the Creator. That's the mouth. That's the gula, that's the redemption from Egypt. A mouth that has the power of expression to express to the world the recognition of the Creator. That there's a B'nai Olam, that we have to have gratitude to him. Like the Ramban says in the end of Pashas Bayit, which we mentioned many times, that Ein Kavana Cheres V'Kol Yitzira. There's no other intention of the whole creation. The Kavana of all the mitzvahs is that the Nivroim, the created beings, should get together and they should say to the Rebbeinu Shalom, Nivroim Anachnu, we are created, we recognize that we're created, and we thank you, and we have gratitude. And through that, we have connection with an eternal existence through our neshama. That's the connection with our neshama, and we exist eternally. That's the Eis HaZoneh Higir. The stuff, the winter is over. And that's why Chag HaPesach, physically it's like that. The Torah says that Chag HaPesach has to be Shamoyres Chodesh HaAviv. Pesach has to be when life returns to the world, when things come back again to life. Because man is coming back to life. Chag HaPesach is the Chag of man coming back to his eternal life, and that's through his Koyach HaPeh. And let's go a bit deeper. Let's see what happens here. We begin the night of the Seder with the first cup of wine. And what do we do with the first cup of wine? The first cup of wine, we make Kiddush. And what do we say in Kiddush? How do we end the Kiddush of Yom Tov? Baruch Ato Hashem. Mekadesh Yisrael v'hazmanim. You sanctify the nation of Israel and time. This is very different than how we make Kiddush on Shabbos. The Gemara in Beitza points out. On the Kiddush of Shabbos we say Baruch Ato Hashem Mekadesh HaShabbat. We don't say Mekadesh Yisrael v'Shabbat. Only on Yom Tov do we say. And if Shabbos falls on Yom Tov falls on Shabbos, then we say like this: Baruch Ato Hashem. That you sanctified Shabbos, and Yisrael and the Zmanim. But we don't say Yisrael before Shabbos. Why? Because who decides when the first day of the month begins? That's here we go back to the Parsha that we will read this week in Shul after the Kriyas HaTorah. Parshas HaChodesh. HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem. The whole introduction to the mitzvahs, which in merit of those mitzvahs we got out of Egypt, begins with Vayedaber Hashem Moshe v'Aaron Daber v'Yisrael HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem. What does it mean, HaChodesh Hazeh Lochem? This is the mitzvah. This is the first mitzvah that Am Yisrael got. The first mitzvah. It's not the first mitzvah written in the Torah, but if you go back to the first Rashi in Chumash, Amar Rav Yitzchak, maybe you remember the first Rashi in Chumash. V'haya ha'teirah tzarech la'aschil. That's the Torah began with this mitzvah. What is this mitzvah? This is the mitzvah of Kiddush HaChodesh. What is Kiddush HaChodesh? That the days in the month could have 29 days or 30 days. If somebody came and saw the moon, it's not automatically the first day of the month. Beis Din has to say Mekudesh, Mekudesh. That the first month is Mekadesh the Chodesh. If Beis Din is Mekadesh the Chodesh, then the 30th day is the first day of the month. If Beis Din is not Mekadesh the Chodesh, then it's the 31st day, the first day of the month. Everything depends on Beis Din. Eile moyadei Hashem mikroi Kodesh, asher tikru oisom edom b'moyadom, asher tikru oisom, the Beis Din has to be Mekadesh. And even if Beis Din is Mekadesh b'ta'ut, by mistake, it's Kodesh. Beis Din decides to make, like we had this year, an extra month. Ibiyah, why do we have the Ibiyah? In order that Pesach should come out in the spring, because the Torah says explicitly it has to be in the spring. The Arabs, by the way, the Arabs count also the moon, imitation of the Jews, but they don't have the plan that we have. In our plan, it always stays the same. we're in contact with the sun, because at the Torah said that the months are not just dependent on the months, the holidays. The holidays are depending on the seasons. The Torah specifically said that Pesach is connected with spring. So we have an organization from the Torah. Shavuos Chodesh Ha'av, based in Kamsin is Ma'abed Chodesh. But the Gemara says that it happened a miracle. A 3-year-old girl, if she has a relationship with a man, she's called a Bubula. Less than 3 years old, she's not called a Bubula. It's a difference in halacha. What happens if she was born in Adar? It's like she was born the second day of Adar. And Beis Din, so now she's already 3 years old. She was Bubula on the third day of Adar. But Beis Din decided to make another Adar. So the Talmud Yerushalmi says, the Psulat will come back. She won't be a Bula. Physically, HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world. The Kel L'Deshen Pesakh, the Kel Goymer Alai. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world based on the decision of Beis Din.
Does that mean she can marry a Kohen?
That means she can, well, anyway, a Bula can marry, but she can marry a Kohen Gadol. Yes, that means she can marry a Kohen Gadol. Yes. She's a Psula. She'll get Psula, Matai, Bula, Psula Meir. She's a Psula. Psula Moletus. It means retroactively, if she was an she was an Eish because her father was Mekadosh, she retroactively, the other person won't get visa because she wasn't 3 years old. Even was based in Pasrot. Because a Boil Bula, Boil Yishabach, Bach Mishal, Shalom, it's not called a beer. You know, you want me to have the Neugreishes Ish. So everything turns around Beis Din. How does Beis Din have control over the time? That means they decide time. If they're Mekadosh the time, that means they have to be above time. So HaChodesh HaZelachem is a remez that Am Yisrael, that's Pshat Mekadosh Yisrael, this HaKadosh Baruch Hu sanctified Am Yisrael. What does it mean he sanctified Am Yisrael? He gave them an Neshama, they connected this Neshama, and he raised them above time. This is the meaning of the mitzvah on the night of Pesach, of eating matzah. What is matzah all about? Matzah doesn't have chametz. If you eat chametz on Pesach, you get kores. Such a severe einish, kores. The whole year, you have to eat matzah. You have to eat chametz. I mean, it's a mitzvah to eat chametz. So I think Shabbos, you have to make a chametz. We're going to make a matzah for the whole year. It's not tasty. It's a mitzvah to eat the chametz. And suddenly on Pesach, you eat chametz, kores. What's this chametz? What's it all about? What's the chametz? What is chametz? Chametz is a decaying process. What is Misa? Misa is, what is death? The body decays, it ages. Time leaves its imprint on the body and until it disintegrates. That's what age and death is. Matzah did not yet begin the process of chametz. How do we know that it didn't begin the process? Well, the Chacham measured. You need it, if it's less than 18 minutes, less than high minutes, that's just symbolic. It's interesting. But if it's less than high minutes, if it's within the term of high minutes, it's high. The decaying process did not begin. But after more than 18 minutes, it fell on the time. Now on Pesach, we have to be removed from the Zman, from the Lechem that was Shelet, that ruled on in time. We are above time. It's Yitzias Mitzrayim. And what is the dimension? That's the meaning, that's the hidden meaning. Mitzrayim, the word Meitzah, Mitzrayim has a double meaning. The word Minhan Meitzah Karosi Ka. I call the Shem from the Meitzah, from the Tzorah. What is the word Meitzah? Maybe you learned at the end of Mitzvah about Metzah. There's a Meitzah.
Yes.
I mentioned it just today.
Death? No, Meitzah.
Death. P-E-P-A.
No, Meitzah, it's one of the Mitzvah. The meaning of the word Meitzah is boundary.
Oh, boundary.
Boundary. Meitzah is a boundary. So let's take this word Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim could be read Mitzrayim. The boundaries. Yitziat Mitzrayim means you went out of the boundaries. Which boundaries? What's the boundary that binds everything in this world? The boundary is time. Everything in this world is under time. Everything has a dimension of time to it. To transcend time, for science fiction, time machines, to transcend time, to go above time. That's Yitzias Mitzrayim. It's transcending the dimension of time. Was created an eternal people. We went out of the dimension of time. How do we express this with the mitzvah of Matzah? And how do we express the Yetzer Hara connects us with time? When the Rambam wants to explain the Rambam. For example, in many places, I can find it, Aleph, it's not here. Probably this is. Rambam, in Hilchos Mezuzah, the Rambam in Hilchos Tshuga, the Rambam speaks about separating oneself from the attachment to the physical entities of this world. That a person shouldn't be only involved in physical survival. And the Rambam says that if a person is involved basically in physical survival, it's a pity because he rejects the tachlis, because the physical survival is only physical in this world. So the Rambam here, as well as the Mezuzah, speaks about Mezuzah. Secondly, he says it's the Tshuva. But then you find it in Mezuzah, you find it in Mezuzah. Chayim Odom is enjoyed in Mezuzah. The person has to be very careful to live in Mezuzah. Kol Zman, when he enters, goes out, he needs community of Hashem. And the Mezuzah helps him to remember his love and awakens him from his sleep. As the Rambam says about the Mitzvah Shaifa, the servant of the Shaifa to be awakened from the sleep of this world. What happens? V'shkiyoytov v'havlei hazman, in the vanity of time. This is the Rambam language that the Rambam goes over and over. The vanities of time. Why is it called the vanity? Havlei hazman. Like in Kohelet, Averu ha'vorim ha'ma Kohelet. Averu ha'vorim ha'kohelet. Reason after it rests so long, let's go and learn together to heaven. Let's see how it's connected to that. Reason after Shlomo Melech continues to say, Am Yisrael Go b'chol amolon v'ya'amon. What is left over to man in all his toiling under the sun? Why does Shlomo Melech have to write? He wants to express the vanity, the emptiness of all the successes of this physical world. So why does he express it with these words under the sun? We all know that this world is under the sun. If you would say, "My Yisrael Go," we wouldn't know that all we have to go under the sun. Can a person be above the sun? Tam Chazal and they Darshi, they interpret. The matter may Hashem in the Arabic in the Song. The matter may Hashem under the sun, Am Yisrael. There's nothing to be gained. The matter may Hashem above the sun. Yes, the sun. Everything is to be gained. Everything is saved. What's the matter may Hashem? What does the sun represent in this puzzle? The sun represents, it says a possibility to be gracious. What is one of the purposes of the sun? The purpose of the sun is the gracious, wherever it is, all right? Say by heart. This is what you do. I guess it's not here. What's it? I'm not here. What's the purpose of the creation of the sun? One of the purposes? To count the years. So the seasons and the years. To count the days and the years. In other words, the sun represents the measurement of time. Tachas Hashemesh. So what does it mean? My Yisrael Go Tachas Hashemesh. What is left over with a man from the physical persons which are under time? If you're only dealing with the physical survival in this tiny world, then what have you gained? Something which is timely. But the Malami Hashemesh, if you deal with something which is eternal, then what do you gain? Something eternal. That's Yetzias Mitzrayim. That's what Yetzias Mitzrayim was created a nation that they won't just be busy with physical survival. Where's the toiling and effort of physical survival come from? The Chet of Adam Rishon. The sin of the first man. With the sweat of your brow you eat bread. Because of the Chet. But man wasn't created for that purpose. That's the klala, that's the curse. The man was created basically had to be free to put effort into Torah and mitzvahs. That's Yetzias Mitzrayim. Shibud Mitzrayim represents the toiling and effort in the physical world. Then that would put you only under time. Yetzias Mitzrayim is we created an eternal man, that he is above time with an neshama. So we begin with Kiddush, so back to Kiddush HaChodesh. That's where the mitzvah is expressed, and that's the first cup, the Kaddish Yisrael, he sanctified us and put us above time. How do we end the Seder? Listen to this. Something nice. We end the Seder. But how do we end the Seder? Listen, what's the last sentence according to our minute? Those that say Chad Gadya, it's the last sentence of Chad Gadya. What is the last sentence of Chad Gadya? The last sentence of Chad Gadya, what do we say? What, the last sentence in Chad Gadya, you know the P of the poem. Chad Gadya, Osa HaKadosh Baruch Hu will come and will slaughter the Malach HaMoves that slaughtered the Shofet, that slaughtered the Yaacov, blah, 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 blah. So the last sentence of the night of the Seder is HaKadosh Baruch Hu will come and slaughter the Malach HaMoves. Chiyat HaMeitim. On the night of the Seder, we are connected with Chiyat HaMeitim. And that's the concept why one has the custom to wear a kittel. Just like what's the connection? Kittel is something we bury Mason with. Because suddenly on the night of the Seder, one puts on a kittel. And on Yom Kippur, one puts on a kittel. What is this kittel? Because we're connected. The kittel represents a pure world and an eternal world. Just like Yom Kippur, we are mufshat. On Yom Kippur, we are separated from the dimensions of this physical world by not eating. On Leil HaSeder, even though we eat the matzah, we are connected with the Olam of Chiyas HaMeisim. And so, Eis HaSloma Higia, we end the Yetzias Mitzrayim. Am Yisrael, HaKadosh Baruch Hu splits the sea, and Am Yisrael says Shira, and there Rashi says as well, Oz Yoshia Moshe, then Am Yisrael will sing. When will this song be completed? Oz Yoshia, says Rashi, Mikan Remes Chiyas HaMeisim. Here is a hint to Chiyas HaMeisim, that man will be revived and brought to eternal life. So the whole concept of Pesach, the singing mouth, Pesach, is the Nefesh Chai, is the eternal man. The man that has, that's Eis HaZomer here, the time of singing has arrived. Because the Tachlis of Olam Haba is to connect with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the connection of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is to be Mahalul, to understand different greater hasogas, greater concepts of what the Bari Olam is, and to praise him. That's what Olam Haba is about as well. So that's what this is, and a similar Dava, I will end with this. The Satan, Hasatan, the Gemara says, is Bigmatria, Hasatan. The Satan, what is the Satan? The one that wants to prevent us from mitzvahs. Hasatan is Bigmatria 364. What is 364? The revolution of the sun. His whole shlita, his whole rulership is in time. He wants to bring us under time. But the mitzvahs of the night of Seder, I'm saying Bigmatria now, Pesach, Matzah, Mora, these three mitzvahs are